Elara Tran gazed out from the control deck of the Nomad, her eyes reflecting the star-studded void of the fringe. The vastness of space seemed a cruel mirror to the isolation humanity now faced, cast out and discarded by the Galactic Council. She turned from the viewport to face her eclectic crew, a mixture of exiles and renegades, each one as displaced as the next. "All right, team," Elara began, her voice steady despite the turbulence churning within her. "We've got one shot to prove our worth to the galaxy. The Celestial Forge, legend says it can reshape planets. It's our key to coming back stronger." Vec, the ship's AI, projected a holographic map of their course. "The forge is located on a planet in the uncharted Zelthar sector. It's not just the distance, the region is riddled with gravitational anomalies and rogue asteroids." Tora, an alien warrior with scales that shimmered like emeralds, nodded solemnly. "And pirates. Don't forget the scavengers drawn to unclaimed territories. And the Council," Jax added, leaning against the console, his tone bitter. "They'll be watching. They think we're chasing fairy tales, hoping we fail." Elara met each of their gazes, her resolve hardening. "Then we don't fail. We can't. For all of humanity, we can't." The journey was fraught with challenges. As the Nomad navigated through asteroid fields, the tension aboard the ship was palpable. Elara spent her days poring over ancient texts and star maps, while Tora and Jax trained together, preparing for whatever physical threats might lie ahead. One evening, as the ship hummed quietly through the cosmos, Vec alerted them to an incoming transmission. The screen flickered, and an encrypted message appeared, its origin unknown. "It's a set of coordinates," Elara deciphered, her brow furrowed. "Trap?" Jax questioned, crossing his arms. "Only one way to find out," Elara said with a determined sigh. Vec set a course. The coordinates led them to a derelict space station orbiting a dying star. Its shadowed hallways whispered secrets of a past long forgotten. As they explored, Elara stumbled upon a library filled with digital archives. "These archives," she whispered, scrolling through holograms of ancient texts. "They speak of the Forge's creators, the Ilari. It wasn't just a tool, it was a symbol of peace, a means to share prosperity across the stars. The Council fears it," Tora mused, her eyes scanning the dim room. "They fear its power to change, to elevate those they seek to control." "Exactly," Elara affirmed, her voice a mix of awe and anger. "And we're going to use it to change everything." They returned to the ship with the archives, the weight of their future pressing down upon them. The Nomad resumed its course, now with a clear direction. Days turned into weeks, and as they drew closer to the Zelthar sector, the anomalies became more severe. A massive asteroid storm threatened their path, and Tora took the helm, her reflexes a blur as she dodged the hurtling rocks. "We're not going to make it!" Jax yelled over the roar of the engines. "We have to!" Elara shot back, clutching the armrests as the ship shook violently. Suddenly, the chaos ceased. They had emerged from the storm, the path to the forge clear before them. "Looks like the universe is on our side," Jax grinned, relief washing over him. "Don't jinx it," Tora muttered, her gaze fixed on the viewport. The planet housing the Celestial Forge loomed ahead, its surface a tapestry of harsh landscapes and beautiful anomalies. Landing the ship on its rocky terrain, the crew prepared for the final leg of their journey. On the surface, the air was thin, and the gravity, slightly heavier than Earth's, pulled at them with a constant reminder of the stakes at hand. They trekked across the rugged expanse, guided by the coordinates embedded in the ancient texts. Finally, they stood before a structure that pierced the horizon, its architecture alien yet strangely welcoming. The entrance was sealed, a puzzle lock guarding its secrets. Elara approached, her hands hovering over the intricate symbols. "It's a test," she realized, tracing the patterns. "A test of harmony. The Ilari believed only those who seek balance can wield the power of the forge." Working together, the crew solved the puzzle, the doors slowly parting to reveal the heart of the Celestial Forge. Inside, the technology was beyond anything they had imagined, capable of terraforming planets within months. "We did it!" Zelara breathed, her crew's faces bathed in the light of the forge. Now, let's bring our findings back. Let's show the Council and the galaxy that humanity isn't just surviving, we're thriving. As they made their way back to the ship, each step was lighter, buoyed by the promise of a new beginning. Humanity would no longer be seen as the outcasts of the galaxy but as pioneers of change, architects of their own fate. Back aboard the Nomad, Zelara looked out into space once more, a small smile playing on her lips. The stars seemed closer now, their light not a barrier, but a beckoning. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with new challenges, but for the first time in a long time, hope was more than a distant dream, it was a tangible promise written in the stars. As the Nomad resumed its journey deeper into the uncharted Zelthar sector, Zelara Tran couldn't shake the feeling of unease that clung to her like the cold of space. They were closer than ever to the Celestial Forge, yet every light-year traverse seemed to stretch her resolve thinner. Beside her, the crew, a band of misfits and outcasts, seemed to sense her tension, their usual banter subdued under the weight of their mission. Vec, the AI, broke the silence, its voice echoing through the ship's bridge. Approaching the Zelthar sector. Increased cosmic activity detected. I recommend caution. Define increased cosmic activity. Jax quipped, trying to lighten the mood, his eyes never leaving the radar. Gravitational fluctuations and a series of small black holes. Vec replied, unfazed by human humor. Navigational hazards are significantly higher. Tora, standing by the window, watched the stars twist and warp as they approached the sector. It's like the universe itself is trying to keep us out, she murmured, her warrior instincts on high alert. Zelara nodded, feeling the weight of their stares. Or it's testing us, she suggested. We knew this wouldn't be easy. The forge is within our reach now. Let's stay focused and see this through. The crew tightened their resolve, their shared purpose rekindling the fire that had brought them this far. They maneuvered through the Zelthar sector with precision, each anomaly navigated a testament to their growing synergy and trust. Suddenly, an alarm blared, slicing through the concentration like a knife. Incoming vessel, Beck announced. It does not match any known council or pirate signatures. On screen, Zelara commanded, stepping forward as the image of a sleek, dark ship appeared. It was unlike anything they had seen, its design neither human nor familiar alien. This could be a first contact scenario, Zelara mused aloud. Or a new threat. Jax readied the weapons, not taking any chances. First contact with cannons, he muttered, his finger hovering over the trigger. Wait, Zelara said, holding up a hand. Let's not start a war unless we need to. Hail them. Vex sent out the communication signal. Moments later, the alien vessel responded. The language was indecipherable at first, but Vec quickly adapted, translating their words. They are the Zelmara, Vec informed. They claim this sector as their sacred realm and demand our purpose. Zelara took a deep breath, stepping up to the communicator. We seek the Celestial Forge, she declared boldly. We mean no harm to your realm. We pursue a path of peace and restoration for all. The Zelmara were silent for a moment, that stretched too long. Then, their leader appeared on the screen, his features sharp and eyes piercing. The Celestial Forge is a myth, he said, his voice echoing. Many have come, driven by desperation or greed. None have returned. We are different, Zelara responded, her voice steady. We have been cast out by the Galactic Council. We seek to prove our worth, to restore balance to a galaxy that has forgotten the meaning of fairness. Help us, and we promise that the benefits of the Forge will extend to your people as well. The Zelmara leader studied her, his gaze intense. After a tense pause, he nodded slowly. I will grant you passage. But beware, the path to the Forge is fraught with perils greater than you can imagine. Should you fail, do not expect rescue. Understood, Zelara said, a mix of relief and renewed determination in her voice. Thank you. As the Zelmara ship withdrew, the crew exhaled in unison, the threat of conflict abating. Well, that went better than I expected, Jax admitted, easing away from the weapons console. Zelara smiled faintly. It's not over yet. Let's keep going. The nomad pressed on, the coordinates to the forge now confirmed by their brief allies. The closer they got, the more the cosmic anomalies intensified. Space itself seemed to distort, time bending around them, testing their resolve and their ship's capabilities. During this part of the journey, Zelara spent hours with Vec, going over the data they had on the forge. She knew that understanding its power was crucial to their mission's success, not just to use it, but to convince the Council of its importance. We're not just fighting for survival anymore, she told her crew during a brief meeting in the mess hall. We're fighting for a chance to change everything. The forge can reshape worlds, yes, but more than that, it can reshape perceptions. It can show the galaxy that humanity isn't to be underestimated. Tora nodded, her expression solemn but supportive. And we will stand with you, Zelara. Not just as crew, but as family. Their bond, formed by shared hardships and the fierce desire for a better future, was their greatest strength. It was this unity that carried them forward, through fields of cosmic debris and whispers of ancient energies, to the very heart of the Zelthar sector. As the Nomad finally approached the planet believed to house the Celestial Forge, the crew prepared for the challenges that awaited. They checked their equipment, fortified their resolve, and reminded each other of the stakes at hand. Zelara looked out at the looming planet, its surface swirling with storms and strange lights. Whatever happens next, she said to her crew, remember why we started this journey. For humanity, for the forgotten, for all who have been cast aside. We're going to change the game. With that, the Nomad descended, piercing the atmosphere of a world that held the key to their salvation or their end. Every heart aboard the ship beat in unison, ready for the final challenge. As the Nomad touched down on the turbulent surface of the planet housing the Celestial Forge, Zelara Tren felt the culmination of their long journey weigh heavily upon her shoulders. The atmosphere inside the ship was charged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. All right, everyone, this is it, Zelara announced, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. The Celestial Forge is close, but we need to stay alert. This planet isn't just uncharted, it's unpredictable. Vec, the AI, displayed a map on the main screen, outlining their route to the forge. Sensors indicate numerous geological instabilities. I suggest we proceed on foot with maximum caution. Tora, her warrior spirit undeterred by the looming threats, checked her gear before glancing at the others. We've faced worse and come out stronger. Let's finish what we started. Jax, typically the skeptic, nodded in agreement, his usual quips set aside for a more somber determination. Lead the way, Captain. The crew disembarked, stepping onto the surface that seemed alive with energy. The ground beneath their feet was a mosaic of crystalline structures that pulsed with a faint, ethereal glow. The sky roared with the colors of a storm that had never seen a sun. Zelara led the way, her eyes scanning the horizon and her hand resting on the weapon at her belt. The path to the forge was less a path and more a series of markers that Vec had identified from orbit, each one leading deeper into the heart of the planet. As they progressed, the terrain grew more volatile. Without warning, a chasm opened up directly beneath them. Tora reacted instantly, grabbing Zelara and pulling her back as the ground where she had been standing moments ago fell away into darkness. That was too close, Zelara breathed, her heart racing. Everyone, watch your step. This planet doesn't seem to want visitors. They maneuvered around the new obstacle, finding an alternative route through a narrow gorge that amplified the planet's eerie whispers. It was as if the wind itself was speaking in tongues, recounting tales of ancient powers and lost civilizations. Midway through the gorge, they encountered a structure, unlike anything human or alien architectures had prepared them for. It was as if the structure had grown organically from the ground, its walls ribbed and pulsating with light. This has to be it, Zelara said, a mix of awe and fear in her voice. The heart of the forge. The entrance was sealed, with a mechanism that appeared to be a lock but with no discernible keyhole or panel. Zelara approached, her mind racing through possibilities. Vec projected a series of symbols onto her handheld device, symbols that matched those they had seen in the archives. It seems to be a puzzle, A test of logic and understanding. The crew gathered around the puzzle, each member contributing their thoughts as they tried different combinations of symbols and sequences. Time slipped by unnoticed as they worked, united by a single goal. After what felt like an eternity, the ground trembled lightly under their feet as the symbols clicked into place, and the doors slowly began to open, revealing a corridor that led deep into the heart of the planet. Inside, the corridor was lined with more pulsating lights, guiding them deeper and deeper until they reached a vast chamber. The chamber was dominated by a colossal structure that shimmered with energy, the celestial forge itself. Zelara stepped forward, her crew behind her, as they approached the forge. It was a moment of triumph mixed with an overwhelming sense of responsibility. Here was a tool that could reshape worlds, possibly even the balance of power in the entire galaxy. "Vec, are you getting this?" Zelara asked, turning to look at the AI's interface on her device. "Yes, Captain. It appears the forge is operational, but it requires activation through a biometric sequence that aligns with the Ilari's genetic markers." Zelara's mind raced. The Ilari, ancient creators of the forge, long thought extinct. She looked at her crew, each of them an outsider in their own right, all of them part of a journey that had seemed impossible. "Maybe it's not just about the blood of the Ilari," she mused aloud. "Maybe it's about what they represented, their spirit, their values. Unity, cooperation, the pursuit of knowledge." Inspired by her words, the crew joined hands, forming a circle around the forge. Zelara placed her hand on the console, her heart filled with a hope that was almost palpable. The forge hummed to life, its lights intensifying, bathing them in a brilliant glow. The energy surged through the room, through them, and outwards, sending a pulse of power that radiated across the planet's surface and beyond. "We did it," Jax whispered, his voice filled with wonder. "We did more than that," Tora added, her eyes bright. "We've proven that unity is not just a dream." As they made their way back to the Nomad, the planet calm now, as if it had accepted them, Zelara couldn't help but feel that they had changed more than just their own fates. They had ignited a spark that would challenge the very foundations of the galaxy. "Let's go home," Zelara said, a smile spreading across her face. "And let's tell the galaxy that humanity is here to stay, to contribute, to thrive." The journey back was quiet, each member of the crew lost in their thoughts, their hearts light with the knowledge that they had witnessed, and effected, a miracle. The celestial forge was no longer a myth. It was a testament to what could be achieved when the discarded and the downtrodden stood together against the odds. As the Nomad ascended into the stars, Zelara looked back at the planet, a silent promise made. They would return, but not just to use the forge. They would ensure it was a beacon of hope, a symbol of unity, and a game-changer for all who dared to dream in a galaxy that was, perhaps, not so cold and vast after all. Zelara stood at the helm of the Nomad, her gaze locked on the glowing console of the celestial forge. The ancient machine hummed faintly, its core pulsating with a rhythm that felt almost alive. Around her, the crew waited in tense silence, the enormity of the moment pressing down on them. "This is it," Zelara said, her voice steady but low. "The point of no return. If we activate the forge, it'll send a signal, one the Council can't ignore." Jax leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his usual smirk absent. "They'll come running, Zelara. You know that. The Council doesn't like loose ends, especially ones that threaten their control." Tora, ever the pragmatist, adjusted the strap of her weapon. "And they won't come to negotiate. They'll come to destroy." Zelara turned to face them, her expression resolute. "That's why we're here. Humanity's been pushed to the edge of extinction, cast out like we're nothing. We didn't come this far to hide in the shadows. The forge is proof that we're capable of more than they ever gave us credit for. It's time we show them." Vec's voice broke through the tension, calm and precise. "Captain, I've analyzed the activation sequence. Once initiated, the forge will release a massive energy pulse, transforming this planet into a habitable zone. The signal will be broadcast across several sectors. Then we better make it count," Jax said, pushing off the wall. "If they're going to come after us, Let's make sure they're coming to see what we've built. Zelara approached the console, her hand hovering over the activation panel. She hesitated, the weight of her decision pressing down on her. This isn't just about humanity anymore, she said softly. If we succeed, we're setting an example for every species the Council's ever oppressed. We're giving them hope. Without another word, she placed her palm on the panel. The forge responded instantly, its core flaring to life as streams of light shot through the chamber. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and a low hum grew into a deafening roar as the energy pulse expanded outward. Outside, the planet transformed. Barren wastelands blossomed into lush greenery, rivers carved through the land, and the air thickened with the vitality of a thriving ecosystem. The crew stared in awe as the dead world was reborn before their eyes. "We did it," Tora whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "It's beautiful." The celebration was short-lived. Vex's voice cut through the moment like a blade. "Incoming ships detected. Multiple council vessels, closing fast." Jax let out a low whistle. "Well, that didn't take long." Zelara's mind raced. "How many?" "5 capital ships," Vex replied, "accompanied by a fleet of smaller support vessels. They'll be within range in 20 minutes. Tora's hand tightened around her weapon. "We can't fight that. Not with the Nomad. We're not here to fight," Zelara said, turning to her crew. "We're here to show them what we've accomplished. If we can hold them off long enough, maybe, just maybe, they'll listen." Jax raised an eyebrow. "You really think the Council's going to listen? They didn't banish us because they were open to negotiation. They banished us because they were afraid of what we could become," Zelara shot back. "And now we're showing them. We're not their pawns anymore." The crew moved quickly, preparing the Nomad for the inevitable confrontation. Jax powered up the ship's defenses while Tora coordinated a strategy for evasive maneuvers. Zelara stood at the center of it all, her mind focused on the coming storm. When the Council fleet arrived, the sky darkened with their presence. The lead ship opened a channel, and a hologram flickered to life on the Nomad's bridge. A stern-faced alien with sharp features and piercing eyes glared at Zelara. "Captain Tran," the alien said, his tone cold and authoritative. "You've violated the terms of your exile. Deactivate the forge and surrender immediately, or face annihilation." Zelara stepped forward, meeting his gaze with unwavering resolve. "We're not surrendering. Humanity was cast out without cause, without reason. We've proven we're more than what you thought we were. Look at this planet. Look at what we've accomplished. This isn't an act of war, it's an act of creation." The alien's expression didn't waver. "Your defiance only proves the Council's decision was justified. Humanity is a destabilizing force." "Destabilizing?" Zelara's voice rose, her anger breaking through. "You're afraid of change. You're afraid of a galaxy where power isn't concentrated in your hands. This isn't about humanity, it's about control. And you're losing it." The alien's hologram flickered as the signal wavered. "You leave us no choice." The first volley of fire rained down on the Nomad, and the ship rocked violently under the assault. Alarms blared as Jax shouted over the chaos. "Shields are holding, but not for long." Tora's voice cut through. "Evasive maneuvers engaged. Vex, can we redirect power to the shields?" "Already done," Vex replied. "But it's a temporary solution." Zelara gripped the edge of the console, her mind racing. "We need to buy time. If we can show them what the Forge can do, maybe they'll reconsider." As the Nomad darted through the chaos, dodging fire from the Council fleet, Zelara activated the Forge's secondary systems. Beams of light shot into the sky, projecting holographic images of the planet's transformation across the sector. "This is what we're fighting for!" Zelara shouted into the comms, broadcasting to the Council ships. "A future where everyone has a chance to thrive. A future where power isn't hoarded, but shared." The barrage slowed, and for a moment there was silence. Then, the alien's voice returned, quieter this time. "You've made your point, Captain. But this changes nothing." Zelara's heart sank, but she refused to back down. "It changes everything. You can destroy us, but you can't erase what we've done. The galaxy has seen it now. The truth is out. The alien's hologram disappeared, and the fleet began to retreat. The crew watched in stunned silence as the Council's ships pulled back, their weapons powering down. What just happened? Jax asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. They're scared, Tora said simply. And they should be. Elara exhaled, the tension finally breaking. This isn't over. They'll be back. But next time, we won't be alone. We've planted the seed. Now it's up to the galaxy to let it grow. The Nomad hovered above the newly forged planet, its crew united in quiet triumph. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, humanity wasn't just surviving, it was leading the way to a brighter future. The forge pulsed behind them, a silent titan of energy, as Zelara stood at the bridge of the Nomad, staring into the void where the Council fleet had vanished moments earlier. The retreat felt hollow. Her shoulders sagged with exhaustion, but she kept her voice steady. This isn't victory, not yet. We've shown them what we can do, but they'll regroup. Next time, they'll come prepared. Tora leaned against the console, her scaled arms crossed. We gave them something to think about. They'll hesitate now, wondering if they're facing just us or something bigger. Jax paced the room, his boots scuffing the floor. Something bigger? Sure. But if they send another fleet, we're toast. One lucky shot, and the Nomad won't be dodging anything. Vex's calm voice cut through the rising tension. Strategically, the Council's next move will depend on public reaction. The Forge's transformation has already begun transmitting across multiple sectors. Word will spread. Elara turned to face her crew. Then we need to control the narrative. This isn't just about what we've done, it's about who we've inspired. The galaxy is filled with species the Council has pushed aside. They need to see this as their fight too. Jax raised an eyebrow. You want to turn this into a revolution? Bold move for a crew of 4. It's not just 4 of us anymore. Elara countered. The Forge is our proof. People will rally to the idea of change. All we have to do is lead them. Before anyone could respond, an alert blared through the ship. Vex's voice turned sharp. Incoming transmission. Unidentified source. Elara's heart quickened. Put it through. The screen flickered, revealing a haggard face, a human, scarred and weary, but alive. Behind him, a chaotic backdrop of makeshift technology and battered ships came into focus. This is Captain Asher of the Reclaimer. We picked up your signal. Is it true? The Forge, did you really do it? Elara stepped closer to the screen, her voice steady. It's true. The planet is alive, and the Council knows it. But we can't hold them off alone. Asher's eyes narrowed, determination replacing the skepticism. You won't have to. There are others out here, humans, exiles, refugees. We've been waiting for someone, to give us a reason to fight. If you'll lead, we'll follow. The weight of his words hit Elara like a tidal wave. She glanced at her crew, seeing their silent nods of agreement. We'll lead, she said, her voice firm. But this isn't just about humanity. This is for everyone the Council has ever cast aside. Asher nodded, his face softening. You've already lit the fire. Let's make it burn brighter. The transmission ended, and silence filled the room. Elara turned to Vex. Start compiling a list of nearby factions, anyone who might join us. Tora, Jax, get the Forge's systems online. We'll need every resource it can provide to make this planet a sanctuary. Jax let out a low whistle. So we're not running, then. We're building an army. Elara gave him a faint smile. Something like that. The days that followed were a blur of activity. The Nomad became a hub of coordination, as ships like the Reclaimer began arriving. Each brought supplies, stories, and a burning desire for change. Elara worked tirelessly, meeting with leaders of other species who had suffered under the Council's rule. For every doubt raised, she offered a vision of a united galaxy, one built on mutual respect and shared prosperity. One night, as the crew gathered for a brief moment of rest, Jax leaned back in his chair, a rare smile on his face. You know, I never thought I'd see this. A human leading an alliance of aliens. Feels like something out of a bad holodrama. Tora smirked. Except this time, the stakes are real. Zelara, sitting at the head of the table, looked around at her crew. This was never just about us. The Council underestimated what people can do when they have a reason to believe. That's our real weapon. Not the forge, not our ship, hope. Their moment of calm was interrupted by another alert. Vex's voice came through the intercom. Priority transmission from the Council fleet. Zelara stood, her expression hardening. Let's hear it. The screen lit up with the same Council official who had ordered their surrender. His expression was grim, his tone clipped. Captain Tran? The Council acknowledges the actions you've taken. Your demonstration has drawn attention. Good, Zelara said, folding her arms. Then you know this isn't going away. The official's jaw tightened. You've created chaos. The alliances you're fostering are dangerous, destabilizing. If you continue, the Council will be forced to act. Forced to act? Zelara's voice sharpened. You've already acted. You exiled us. You oppressed countless species. And now you're scrambling because we've shown that the galaxy doesn't need you. The official's composure cracked for the briefest moment, frustration flickering in his eyes. This is your final warning. Deactivate the forge and disband your so-called alliance. If you don't, the full might of the Council will descend upon you. Zelara stepped closer to the screen, her voice quiet but unyielding. Come if you must. But know this, you may break our ships, you may silence our voices, but you can't stop what we've started. The galaxy has seen what's possible. The Council's reign of fear is over. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the crew in a heavy silence. Jax let out a low whistle. Well, that went about as well as expected. Tora's expression was grim. They'll come back, and this time, they won't just be posturing. Zelara nodded, her face set with determination. Then we'll be ready. Every ship that's joined us, every person who's found hope in this fight, they're proof that the Council's time is ending. We don't need to defeat them. We just need to outlast them. As the crew dispersed to prepare for the battles ahead, Zelara stood alone on the bridge, staring out at the planet they had brought to life. She thought of the faces she'd seen in the past days, humans, aliens, all of them united by a shared dream. The Council would come, and the fight would be brutal. But for the first time in her life, Zelara didn't feel fear. She felt purpose. The galaxy had been stagnant for too long, held under the iron grip of those who feared change. But now, change was inevitable. And as long as she had breath in her body, Zelara would make sure humanity stood at the forefront of it. With one final look at the stars, she turned back to the forge, its light filling the room with a quiet promise. The fight was only beginning, but the seeds of a new future had already been sown. All they had to do was keep them alive.